So we've got a sample lesson plan, and guess what? It's a roundhouse kick. So we're using the system that we've been going through here. So we're teaching the roundhouse kick and keeping the coaching points clear. So the 4P method that we're going for, so obviously you pick your age group. The main coaching point here is the turn and return. So we're going for the roundhouse kick. In this instance, it's going to be a rear roundhouse kick because we're pivoting. We're trying to get the front leg to rotate, and then we're also trying to bring it back into stance from there. So again, the play element is choosing the different range, route, rhythm, response, whatever that might be. And then we're finishing with a little bit of pressure, whether that's under normal sparring conditions or whether that's a specific drill game where you want to use the skill that we've picked up. So the link warm-up is getting them to you, again, moving in a way that prepares them for the skill. A little bit of a issue there. So it could be stance and movement work. It could be pivot races. I'll explain that in a later video. A reaction game, using your step and turning movement, mirroring game, kicking stance, all that sort of stuff. As simple as just getting the hips moving in the right way, warming up those legs, and making sure that when it comes to adding speed, power, whatever it might be for everyone down the line, their body feels ready to do that. So shape is the base reps. So the basic version of what it is that you're doing. So roundhouse kick to on the spot, to a pad, to a target, to a bag, whatever that might be, making sure that we're chambering, making sure there's a pivot on the supporting foot. We're using our control and the foot is coming back to a stance. So generally we tell people that they don't have to come back to where it started, but we have to think about where we're landing it and why we might land it there. So keep it simple so that they understand what good is supposed to feel like. So freshening the rep. So again, range here we've put as roundhouse kick after a step in. So this could be a short movement. Kickboxing and Thai, if you're thinking about that, it might be the switch. So again, that switch, I might use that switch to give me more distance or close the distance, depending on what it is I'm doing. So the route, this could be a physical route, or it could be how I get to the roundhouse kick. It could be coming after a jab when I've used the jab to disguise what it is that I'm going to do. Rhythm, like I said before, it might be a case of your partner holding a striking shield, and then as soon as they move it into a space, that signifies a space opening up, and so you would kick on a visual cue. And then response, it could be partner gives one of two reactions. So, for example, if they fired, if your left foot, both side forwards, if they use their jab, that could be a step rear roundhouse kick to their open side, or if they went with their cross, it could be a switch roundhouse kick in order to get their side that's open as they're extended, if that makes sense. Again, don't change anything at once. Use one switch at a time. So again, when we stress, we're adding a challenge. So here, thinking about trying to get them to perform the skill under a little bit more demand, under literal stress, without it being too stressful. So example drills might be, so this one is a scoring one. So you might put them with a partner, and then you might say, okay, it's the first person to land and score under control, obviously, 10 of the kicks that we've been working. And it only counts if it returns back to the stance. So I can't kick and fall, or kick and stumble, or kick and literally fall over. It has to come back to that stance, and that would get me one of the 10 that I'm trying to achieve. With younger kids, it might just be a case of dropping that number, depending on how much time you have. So partner game, one feeds and one reacts. So timed round with movement before every kick. So you might, again, be coming off the back of the jab. It might be something where you're asking one of the two people, if you're sparring, to look for the space where they would put it. So one of them's feeding different techniques, and then the other one's trying to use their initiative as well as their understanding of the technique to try and land that roundhouse kick. So again, live application. This could be as simple as, like we said before, you set them off, you go, okay, it's open sparring, but what I want you to do is the only thing that scores is the rear roundhouse kick. Okay, so it could be really, really simple like that. So light sparring, constrained sparring, but the only point is the roundhouse kick. And again, the kick must appear in every exchange. You could have a forfeit where if they don't manage it by the end of the round, they've got to do 5 burpees and so on and so forth. So they're actually really trying. And again, you're making it into a game because sparring can be quite frustrating and intimidating. So sometimes it's good to make a game out of it. And like I said, this is where the technique stops being just a drill, stop just being, okay, I kick this thing and then move back, and it becomes a usable skill. And their body will really benefit from learning how to use the skill that you're trying to use in multiple different ways. So again, recap, repeat the same core skill, trained it in multiple formats. Hopefully they've stayed more engaged, and then they've also had the chance to use it under pressure. So again, quick run through of what it is that we're trying to achieve. This is an example lesson plan using the rear roundhouse kick. Try throw one of these together for your own techniques. And if you need any help, just give me a shout.